Power is an interesting thing. How we use power, how we try and control and influence others, that really matters. And at Adore Relationships, we want to see people and couples particularly use power in the right way. Power of influence, power of love, but not the power that would seek to control and dominate and manipulate others. That kind of power is inappropriate in relationship, it's wrong in relationships, and it always works to breaking of trust and destroying relationships. What we need to consider is our own use of power. How do we use power in our own relationships? How do we use it in such a way that we actually bring out the best in our partner, in our loving of them, in our care for them, in our kindness and compassion for them, rather than bring out their worst? So what we need to make sure is that when we're together, we're using power in the right way. You know, behind me is a bird ovary. I love Australian finches. I think they're great. But you know what? It's kind of cruel keeping them cramped up in a little cage. It's really the wrong use of power. I try and make the aviary as spacious as I can. I try and keep it as well as I can. I try and give them as balanced a diet as I can, but it will never substitute for the real thing, which is the birds being free to fly in the Australian outback. It's kind of like that in relationships. We might think we know what's best for our partner, but what we do may actually be choking our partner and bringing them some grief. I'm loving it right now. I've got some glass just landing in my backyard. It's just fabulous. I love Australian bird life. Coming in for a drink at the end of the day. But it's how we use power. It's how we actually classify that. It's how we actually can connect in such a way that we can be together, we can be mutually together, we can be lovingly open together, but we're not actually abusing each other and we're not abusing the trust that exists. In Australia, sadly, one woman a week will be murdered by someone she knows, someone who said they loved her at one stage in their relationship together, in a form of domestic violence, which is really just another name for murder. It's sad, it should stop. The issues are complex, but the issues are also preventable. If the people involved, if the men involved particularly, it's not all men, but if the majority are, if the men would actually, instead of internalizing their anger and their rage, and instead of acting out in the homes, if instead they would go and they would talk to in men's groups, they'd go to men's sheds, they would go to Beyond Blue, they would reach out to people like us at Adore Relationships and say, hey, I need to change my life. I don't like who I am. I don't like how I'm relating. I want to learn to do better. And the truth is, if you are that sort of person, you do want to reach out, you can change. Power doesn't need to make others prisoners. You can actually let them go. They can be free to love and to give love and receive love, and you can be free to do the same. And when we embrace love that way, it's a powerful thing. It transforms hearts, it transforms lives. Instead of relationships being at war with each other, relationships become at peace with each other. Instead of it tearing lives apart and disturbing childhoods, it actually brings people together and it makes life so much fun and so much better. At Adore Relationships, we believe that relationships can be brought closer together, that they can actually work, they can be beautiful, they can be strong, they can be respectful, they can be kind and considerate. We can let each other influence so that you create something that's truly great, a kingdom that's worth reflecting on in all its glory, that your children, your grandchildren will come and say, wow, Nana and Granddad, Mum and Dad, how do we get a relationship like that? That's the kind of legacy we want you to create. That's a sort of legacy that we think life is worth living for. So that's the sort of adventure that we're on. And we invite you into that adventure. If this conversation today is sparking issues for you, then you know what to do. Reach out to someone, talk to someone, a professional, not just someone who, over a drink is going to give you the wrong kind of advice, but someone who can actually help steer your course in the right kind of direction. Well, thanks for joining us on Adore Relationships today. We look forward to catching you again real soon. Bye for now.